Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for another Journaling on a Budget Starting Over video. This is our third week and today we're going to make some borders. I saw Betsy Doodle make these borders a long time ago. They're really fun. You can make them ahead of time, have them ready to go to use in your journal when you're ready to finish off a page or even just get a page started. So I just went through and I just grabbed some scraps out of my scrap drawer. And let me see, no, we don't need the cutter. So we're just going to start with these and see what we come up with. One that I did think of that is not quite the same as the others is like just doing a ruffled border. And I thought that might be kind of a neat thing to do. And this is just a piece of napkin that I think, yep, it was glued onto the paper with saran wrap. It was ironed on there, and it was quite a long time ago, and by the looks of it, that doesn't last forever. I could tell when I was cutting it that it was kind of moving a little bit. So we'll just take that apart, take the plastic off it too. I wasn't really planning on that happening, but we'll see how it works anyways. So we'll just go ahead and glue these two strips together, because by the time that we ruffle it, it's going to get shorter. Now, because this is now just one layer of napkin, not real sure exactly how it's going to turn out. It might rip, but I think what we'll do is we'll ruffle it and then we'll stick it onto a piece of paper to border it, to back it so that it can be used as a border. But so just take your paper, which this I thought was going to be a piece of paper, and just fold it. Just fold it down, bring it up, fold it down, bring it up until you get all the way across. Now, this one's not going to be super long because of the folding. That's going to shorten this long piece of paper up by quite a bit, but it could be used across the top of a page or across the top of a pocket. Maybe not over the edge of the pocket, but right on the pocket across the top, because then we're only going the width of our page instead of the full length of the journal. So once we've got that all folded up, then we could just stick it on here to make it a little sturdier. So again, I thought that this was put on with water glue on the paper. I probably would not really do this with just one layer of napkin like this, but since it's what happened, it's what happened, and so you just kind of go with it. Let's start. Oops. Pull this back. Just going to kind of fold this last little bit right here over the top. Since I've got my folds in there, it should make it easy for me to just refold it, except trying to keep it on the paper. Easier if you were to have it sitting down on your table, but I have such a mess in the background here, I don't think I want to do that. Whoops, and I stuck that one down. And then the folds are going to be loose, the top part of the folds. So there we go. Now that was very messy and very quick, but it just goes to show you another thing that you can do that's cute on the back. So you can just do it that way, do it a little more in line, a little bit neater, but that is kind of cool. And now all of the folded parts are still loose. If you don't want them that way, you can just go in and touch behind them with a little bit of glue to glue them down. And if you did it with a heavier piece of paper, you wouldn't really need to worry about that. And then it's just driving me crazy that it's so crooked. So I'm just going to kind of trim it up a little bit. There. That makes me feel a whole lot better. So there, just like a little ruffled border. And we're just making these not to put in our book right now, because I usually like to put my borders on as I'm doing the page, and usually at the end of doing the page, because I kind of like them to be on top of whatever I'm laying down on that page. But so we've got that little ruffle. Now these are the ones that Betsy Doodle did. And so just going to, these pages I believe are 8.5 inches. I think they're the top cut off of, yeah. So this is the full length of my journal right here. And so what she would do is she would just take a whole page. But since I only just grabbed some of these, I wouldn't necessarily do it, you know, like I'm not going to use this whole page, but I'll show you how she did it. So she would just go in and just make some lines. And maybe a straight one, and maybe a kind of loopy one, and maybe we'll do a loopy one this way, and then just another like this. Okay, and then that doesn't look like much, but you go in and you start decorating them. And once you get them decorated, let's decorate this one here. And so let's just kind of use some colors that kind of go along with that. Maybe some copper too. And basically just kind of decide what it is that you might want to do. We'll just kind of come in here and put some little like ovals, or I don't know what you call those. They kind of look like an eye, because an oval's more rounded on the end. So you just come in and you do like that, and then maybe take one of the other colors and do the same thing inside. And this is a great project for in the evening when you're watching TV, because you can just sit there and basically all you're going to do is doodle inside each one of these sections. And once you get it all doodled, then you're going to turn it into a border. And you can either do that right away, or you can just leave them all on the page and cut them off one at a time as you need them. I do like to cut them off after I get them all doodled, because I like to be able to see what they look like on their own, because they're much prettier once you get them cut apart than they are when they're on the paper. And of course, because we're just doing this as a tutorial, I'm not taking my time as much as I would if I was sitting down and, you know, really thinking about what I was doing. But, and I just kind of look and see where I think, you know, it needs a little something here or a little something there, and then I just repeat that pattern down the whole border. Maybe a little bit like this over the top. And you can get as detailed or as simple as you would like to. And then maybe we'll take the blue and maybe we'll just put another circle around here. And again, the more time you take, the prettier that they will look. But this is just a really fun thing to do. Something to take up your time, keep your mind occupied, and really turns out being a nice addition for your journals. And again, that's Betsy Doodle. If you don't know, that's her channel name. If you've not seen her, she has great projects that she does. And so I really think that we need something around this area, but I think I want to break from those three colors. So we're going to do some brown and just kind of put some dots in here. It just needed something, especially in these larger ones, between those original two ovals. Alrighty, maybe come in here, get a little something darker, and there, we'll call that good. Then what you do is just take your scissors and cut it either, you can either leave the black edge on it. This one, because the colors are so light, I don't really think I want that black on there, so I'm going to cut it off. And I'm going to cut it off, and then it's going to show up on the next one because I'm leaving it there. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. And again, because they're just doodle borders, there is no right, no wrong. All of the loops don't have to be exactly the same. And there we go. Now we have a border. And so it didn't look, I think it looks pretty nice now. I was really kind of thinking this is really bad, but I like the looks of that. It's quite pretty when it's all on its own. I think if I would have left the black, though, I think it might have been a bit much. Now, my choice is to either make this next border with this look on it and this look on it, or to cut it straight. It will make it a thin border, which I do like to have two different sizes. So now we would have decorated this one, and now we have a really thin border. And then when you cut out this one, you think you're cutting out this border here, but remember that you do need to do the whole page. You need to color between everything, because this is also now going to be a border. And so this is normally, when I do this, I normally start with a page that's just junk paper, you know, not, you can do it with scrapbooking paper if you want to, or something that's really, really fancy pretty, but I love to use like jelly prints that, I don't necessarily care for them on their own, or just wipe off papers, because those ones give you a really pretty background to start with. So all you have to do is the doodling part once you draw your lines. So now you have one that looks like that. And then when you do this one, it's going to have this double shape on it, which they're really fun to use sometimes too. And they also work great for belly bands. You could, if you've done it on cardstock, or you can put this on a piece of cardstock so that it's a little thicker than just, this is just copy paper, which I wouldn't want to use. I do like copy paper for borders, but I don't really like it necessarily for a belly band, because the border is going to be glued right down to my page, where the belly band, you're going to be sticking things in and out. So you would just want to put it on a piece of cardstock. or a piece of old junk packaging so that, you know, repurpose that junk packaging and get a nice solid, so now you have this shape. Get a nice solid belly band with that packaging. You don't need the cardstock to make it solid, because you're not going to see it. So you use a piece of old packaging, an old cereal box, or just another piece of paper. Now you've got the waves. And when you cut this one, it's going to also be double points. So you're going to have points on this one, and you'll have points on the other side. And then you'll decide, do you want the other side to have a flat, a flat portion, or do you want it to have that wave that I drew there? And you can just do that as you're going, as you're decorating or as you're cutting. Then you just make that decision at that time. But these are just, they're so awesome and they're so fun. And it's a good way to use your scrap paper, your painty backgrounds that you didn't like, because in the background of these, they do look really nice. And that's one step you don't have to do. You don't have to give it, see, like I'm cutting it out of this, and you know, they're all white backgrounds. So I really need to do something with it before I even start doodling on it. So this one, instead of giving it, I could cut it straight across the bottom and then cut this part right here. But we'll give this one this swoopy bottom. And again, it's not a repetitive pattern. It's just a very odd shape, which is really fun to do. We'll put that over there. So out of that one piece of paper, we wound up with this amount of borders. And again, like I said, you know, you sit and doodle them at night or whatever, but if you have your colored background, they're not so plain like that. We have this one that can be done or can be added to when we go ahead to put it in our book. And where's our journal? See kind of what it looks like on a journal page. And it's turquoisey and green, so I don't think I would want it on a blue page. Oops. Let's do this end. But look, isn't that really pretty? I really like the way that that turned out. And you can do it like that. Again, you can put it across the top of a pocket. You can just use pieces of it to do a collage on a page. And they're just, you know, simple, easy borders to make. And so I made this one. Let's say I couldn't find any page in here that I liked. I didn't find any page that ooh, it does look nice on that one. Look at that one. I do like that together. But if I did a whole bunch of them and it was like, oh, that one doesn't really match it, I don't like it, well, you just save it for another project. So, you know, you don't, but it's nice to sit down. I don't really like it on that one. I did like it on the other side. But you don't have to use them all in your one journal. They're just nice to have set aside. And I'm going to set this one aside. And what I'm going to more than likely do is, because I really don't want to do these white ones. Now, that was kind of a waste of paper, but I don't want to have to get the color in the background. So what I am going to wind up doing is, when I go sit in the evening, I'm going to take a couple of these, and I am just going to doodle on them and then cut them out so that I have them ready for our journal when we're ready to put some borders on, and I will have some done. But so there, I'm going to get 3 or maybe even 4, because I might cut that one in half, or I might cut a long straight strip off of that one. But I'm going to do that one, and I'm going to do this one. This is some dendritic printing that we did. I think I'll take this side. It has more color on it. And I think I'll do one of the kind of loop-de-loops. They're really quite fun. And for belly bands, the one that has these loops on both sides is great, or even on one side, but the points like that, they're not the best for a belly band. So you would want to cut these loops and use this piece, but then this piece that's going to come out of here that has these little points, they're not great for belly bands, because those little points want to get stuck when you're trying to stick stuff in there. So that's just something when you're deciding what to use the pieces for. So this one's got 4 pieces on it, so I'm going to do those, and I'm actually going to do even a couple of music pages. And these were just, again, scraps out of my scrap bin. These little lumps are not the same size, and this will wind up being cut off because that should be long enough if I want to. But that you also don't need them all. They don't always have to. Yeah, that's plenty long enough. They don't always have to go up the side. They can go out the top. You don't really want them out the bottom because they'll get squished, but they would look cute. Let's see one. If you put it across the top of a page and it was sticking out the top of your book, that would look really quite cute. And you could even stagger them, do just a little bit, and then do a little bit on another page back here. So they're just very fun to play with. I'm going to make these for our Journaling on a Budget series. And I'll show you here just a few of them that I had done before. Just try and lay them all out where you can see them. This one's just a nice straight one. I really like that one too. And like I said, and some of them are good. Some of them are like, I don't know if I like that or not. The ones I don't like, I rip them up and use them in collage. So, but these all came, I think that these were like 1 or 2 sheets of paper. And, you know, they're just fun. And this one, I believe I put Mod Podge on the top of it when I was done. And that made it just a little bit heavier. So that is our project for today, is making our own belly bands or page edges. What do you call them? Borders. So, but they're fun. Try them. Have a really good time. Check out Betsy Doodle's channel. She's fun. And thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate you. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.